ready to go in this year's Breeders' Cup Mile. And they're off. Lotus Pool shows speed. Lure is right there from the inside in 49er days, and there goes Luthier Enchanteur to grab a lead under the line the first time. Three of them now vying for the lead. It's Lure toward the inside now, grabs a short lead. On the outside, 49er days pressing. Luthier Enchanteur backs off. Arazi is up close, and he hugs the hedge, saving ground all the way. 4 Stars All-Star is running 5th in between horses. Paradise Creek is 6th and gaining ground on the outside. Exit to Nowhere is 7th, about 7 lengths from the lead. Thunder Region is 8th. Selkirk is 9th toward the inside. Lotus Pool is running in 10th. Then Cardoon and Bistro Garden. Brief Truce is 2nd to last, and the trailer is Val de Bois, 15 lengths from Lure, who blazes the way up the backstretch. He got an opening quarter in 22 and 4, and a come and get me half in 45 and 4. They're a half mile out, and Lure leads the way. 49er days right there. Luthier Enchanteur on the outside. He's right there running in 3rd. Arazi is only 2 lengths from the lead. As they enter the far turn, 4 Stars All-Star is right alongside Arazi. Then it's Paradise Creek and Selkirk, who's in behind a wall of horses. Exit to Nowhere's in cramped quarters, but they have to catch Lure as they turn for home. He spurts away from the field by 4. Luthier Enchanteur is now running 2nd, 49er days. Arazi does not have it. Paradise Creek on the outside. Lure running a huge race this afternoon. He's in front by 4. Brief Truce is coming fast, but he's coming too late. Lure does it in front running style. He won by 3. Paradise Creek 2nd, followed by Brief Truce. They couldn't get him. He just laid down fantastic fractions. And look at this time. He destroyed the track record. 1 minute 32 and 4/5 seconds. What an effort by Lure. They're in the gate. And they're off. Flawlessly broke well. Ski Paradise is there with 4 Stars All-Star. Paradise Creek is in among horses, and Lure a bit wide as they head onto the first turn. Under the line the first time, and a charge, a crush of horses moving for the first turn. And Lure is caught 5 wide into the turn. Ski Paradise benefits from her inside post position now, and she goes wide and took many of them with her. Also going wide there was Barathea. The field rounding the turn now after an eventful move into the turn. Lure was taken wide, but now he goes on to take the lead. Ski Paradise, who was the culprit, is now back running in 2nd. 4 Stars All-Star is 3rd. Paradise Creek 4th. On the outside, Leck running in 5th. Flawlessly is now 6th. Wolfhound 7th, followed by his mate Catrail is moving up. Barathea moves through an opening toward the inside. Big Stone is being helped along with the half mile to run now. Then it's Tussauds near the back of the pack and in behind horses, followed by Buckar and Johann Quatz. The half, a grueling 45 and 4, and Lure is trying to go it on the lead again. It's Lure the leader, pressured by 4 Stars All-Star. Ski Paradise is now dropped back into 3rd, and then it's Barathea who's now 4th in between horses. Paradise Creek on the outside is running in 5th. Big Stone looking for a big run now, and he's threading his way through between horses, but Lure looking for a repeat win in the mile. The leader a length and a half with a furlong from the line. Ski Paradise is resurgent again. 4 Stars All-Star. Big Stone is flattened out, and they're coming down to the line, and it will be Lure once again overcoming trouble on the first turn, and he goes on to a clear-cut and decisive repeat victory in the mile. And Mike Smith is pumped up, and why not? He does it again with Lure.
Their track is the 1-horse Inglewood Handicap winner. Johann Quatz, who won the Colonel Keister, has Eddie Delahousse. Paradise Creek, 8th in the Breeders' Cup Mile in his last start. Jean Homme, 2nd in last week's Hollywood Derby, has returned to try his luck in the Citation Handicap. Fanmore with now Pat Valenzuela Road, as Gary Stevens had not yet returned from Tokyo, Japan. He was 2nd in the Carlton Burke in his U.S. debut. Then it's Wind Symbol from John Franks' stable. Ledger Cat from R.D. Hubbard and Ed Allred stable, leading money earner in the field, more than 837,000. And Miraculou, the 8-horse. Now for the call, here's Dave Johnson with the Citation.
And they're off. And from between horses, there goes Paradise Creek. Now Wind Symbol on the outside. Between them, Jean-Homme is right there third as Ledger Cat charges up in the middle of the racetrack, is now third. Jean-Homme back to fourth. Along the inside, the Tender Track is in fifth position. Fan Moore in the pink cap between horses. On the outside, that's Myrackaloo and Johann Quatz at the back of the pack. As they move around the clubhouse turn, it's Paradise Creek showing the way by 3 parts of a length. And on the outside, there goes Ledger Cat, who won this race last year, into the second spot. Jean-Homme, who was second last week in the Hollywood Derby, and the only 3-year-old in the race, is now racing third by a head. There goes Wind Symbol charging up in the orange cap on the outside, taking third with dead aim at the leaders, and Fanmore is flying on the outside. They race down the backstretch, and the battle on the front end continues. On the inside, that's Paradise Creek leading it by a head, but on the outside, Ledger Cat is right there, and now those two race as a team. One back, Wind Symbol is racing in third. Along the inside, Jean-Homme races in fourth position in tight quarters. Fanmore is between horses fifth. Myrackaloo on the outside, just 2 off the leaders, and 3 wide is going up. Johann Quatz is second last, and the Tender Track at the rail with Corey Black trails the field, but it's only 3.5 lengths from front to back, and across the track, 4 of them battle for command. Cutting the corner, Paradise Creek now draws off to lead it by 3 parts of length. Now, here comes the 3-year-old, Jean-Homme on the outside, and down the stretch they come with Thierry Jarnet aboard. Jean-Homme takes command, is in front by 1.5 lengths. On the inside, Paradise Creek is second, and Johann Quatz finishes third. So the only 3-year-old in the race with just 1 week's rest, Jean-Homme comes home a winner in the Citation.
Jean-Homme starting to pay for his cape now. As you see the running time there in the Citation, Paradise Creek second, Johann Quatz was third. Jean-Homme owned by Y. Asakawa, trained by Francis Pasla-Boutin, ridden by Thierry Jarnet. Time 1:45.84. Now, Jean-Homme was the highest price yearling sold.
2 horses to possibly upset. One of them certainly the name's Jimmy with Eddie Delahousse at 9-1. Number 5, another big price for Dom Perignon, and they'll be cracking those bottles out if he could get the job done in this race. The legitimate contender for lure is Paradise Creek. He's tried him several times unsuccessfully, but Pat Day will try again today at 3-1. And number 7 with Kent DeSormo, Yukon Robbery at 25-1. This was the call of the early times by Tom Durkin.
And the final horse, Yukon Robbery, is moving into the starting gate. And they're off. And Lure breaks alertly right from between horses, and he's up and after the early lead. And there goes the name's Jimmy, and the name's Jimmy now assumes command as they passes for the first time, and Mike Smith will concede the lead early with Lure. He's taking him back to the inside. On the outside, Yukon Robbery is up, running in third position. Now he edges into second, Lure running in third, and Paradise Creek moving comfortably in the early going is fourth. Then a break of 3 lengths back to Memento Mori. Dom Perignon is alongside him. 5 lengths back to Stretch running at a hawk. Around the first turn, and the name's Jimmy slips away from the field now by 4 lengths. But Smith is still content to run along in second position with Lure. On the outside, Yukon Robbery runs in third. Then it's another 3 to patient Pat Day and his mount, which is Paradise Creek. And there's a break of 5 lengths back to Dom Perignon, who's followed by Memento Mori. Adahawk is still at the back of the pack. The half went in 47 seconds flat, and they're moving midday down the backstretch. And the name's Jimmy trying to steal it on the front end. He still leads by 2.5 lengths. Yukon Robbery has Lure pinned down inside. Into the far turn, the name's Jimmy leads by 2 with 3 furlongs to run. Lure is still second on the inside. On the outside, Yukon Robbery still has Lure hemmed in. Then farther back, it's Paradise Creek, and he's revving up now. And Pat Day sends him on the outside, and they're rounding the far turn. The name's Jimmy is trying to go wire to wire here. Yukon Robbery. Lure has had nowhere to run yet, and he's down toward the inside. There's a narrow opening for Lure. Paradise Creek is coming on the outside, and Mike Smith sends Lure to the lead from the hedge. It's Lure in front now by a neck, but Paradise Creek trying to pull an upset up, and he's got the lead with the furlong to run. And Paradise Creek is blowing by Lure, and Lure will not repeat today. It is going to be Paradise Creek, and he's going to be a runaway winner. He wins by 5 expanding lengths. Lure finishing second today, and Yukon Robbery was third.
That's the master of Churchill Downs, Pat Day, on Paradise Creek. That was Pat's third winner of the day. Paradise Creek had lost 4 straight times to Lure before this victory this afternoon. And 1 to 5, that was a story, too. I'll tell you more about that. Astudio, the one horse at 15. Memento Mori at 21, a big price. Here is Lure, the favorite despite losing in Louisville at 1 to 2 with Mike Smith. Dancing Douglas was scratch. Then it was Paradise Creek at 6 to 5, second choice with Hall of Fame rider Pat Day. Binary Light at 25, and Scratch 4 stars, all stars. So 5 to run in the early times. Dixie, Tom Durkin has the call. And they're off. And Lure stumbled coming away from the starting gate. He got off to a very awkward beginning. Astudio came away swiftly, and he's got the early lead. And there's Paradise Creek on the outside. No one's really anxious for the lead, so Lure will come on through, and he's got a short lead as they move by us for the first time. Lure on the outside, Astudio toward the inside, and they're both in no hurry yet. Paradise Creek sitting off the early pace. Memento Mori is a headstrong horse, and he's fourth at the inside. Binary Light is a close fifth, and behind a slow pace. They were dawdling along in 24 and 2 in the opening quarter. They're moving around the first turn and heading for the backstretch now. Astudio in front by a length. On the outside, Lure right there, prompting second. Memento Mori under a snug hold third. Paradise Creek is right there, moving smoothly, 2 lengths from the lead. Binary Light is at the back of the pack. A pokey pace here, 48 and 4. And now Smith takes the initiative with Lure on the outside. Astudio counters to come back. Astudio by a head. Lure is right there with him. And in perfect striking position, Paradise Creek looms a threatening third on the outside. Memento Mori is fourth toward the rail. Binary Light continues to trail the field, but he's only 3.5 lengths from the lead. Astudio short lead. Lure right there with them. Lure on the outside, taking the lead now. Midway around the far turn, it's Lure in front by neck. Astudio second, and Paradise Creek and Pat Day are poised on the outside for the stretch drive. Off the turn and into the stretch. Lure a bit wide. Paradise Creek is coming with his charge on the outside. Astudio is there toward the rail. A furlong from the wire. Lure under a drive now. Paradise Creek confronts his arch rival in mid-stretch, and these two striding together. It's Paradise Creek who forges to a short lead, and he forges past Lure to win the early times Dixie by 3/4 of a length. Lure was second best this afternoon again. Paradise Creek now they're in the gate. And they're off. River Majesty and Paradise Creek break well. Solar Splendor is flashing some early speed, but it's Astudio who will be the leader. Craig Perrett sends him to the front. Astudio the leader as they make that long run into the first turn here, and Paradise Creek secures his position in behind the lead and saving ground. Warn Me is now running in third, and Solar Splendor now drops off in fourth. Then a break of 4 to River Majesty, and another 3 back to Binary Light. Memento Mori is content to trail the field. Already 15 lengths from the front. The opening quarter was a strong one, 23 1/5 seconds. Astudio a bit rank while on the lead, and he's gone wide, very wide indeed. He's way out in the middle of the course. And Paradise Creek is down on the inside, hugging the fence. And in between those two, it's Warn Me who now moves into second. Astudio still a bit ranked. They've run a half here in 46 2/5 seconds. Solar Splendor's now moving into third. Then there's still a big break back to Binary Light. And down to his inside, River Majesty. Memento Mori is the trailer, now about a dozen from the lead. And Paradise Creek is in charge as the field moves into the far turn. Paradise Creek the leader, 3/4 and 1:10 flat. Warn Me chasing him second. And there goes Solar Splendor moving swiftly to the lead. An aggressive move by Solar Splendor, and he's gotten by Paradise Creek, and Paradise Creek counters, and those two have hooked up on the turn, and they're approaching the quarter bowl, matching strides, and Paradise Creek has a short lead. On the outside, Solar Splendor is right there with them. 5 lengths back to River Majesty, set down for the drive, and Paradise Creek is under a hand ride here by Pat Day, and he has shrugged off the challenge of Solar Splendor, and he comes cruising into the final furlong. An impressive victory once again. Paradise Creek will win 6 in a row. He's a top-notch racehorse. He's won by 5, and he did it easily today. Solar Splendor was second, and the time for the race, we're giving away track records today. They broke another one, a sensational 1.25 miles.
of 1:57 and 3. Wow, absolutely unbelievable. I wonder how fast he could have gone if Pat Day would have let him run faster. Absolutely unbelievable.
What a performance by Paradise Creek, the first in the 4-year history of the early times triple turf to sweep the series. Owned by Michiyuka Nishiyama, trained by Billy Mott, ridden by the Hall of Famer Pat Day. Bob, that is a sure.
Was on the far turn. Pat Day was in command, total command. He's really motionless on him. Sensing that, Herb McCauley sent Solar Splendor up on the outside, and he did get by. He did get by Paradise Creek, but Pat Day, even at this point, really doesn't seem concerned. He lets Paradise Creek do it all by himself. They make the turn into the stretch. He's really toying with Solar Splendor, who's giving his all. Solar Splendor, no slouch, by the way. He finished third in this race last year, and he's won over $1 million. Look what Paradise Creek is doing to this millionaire. Absolutely laughable, the ease with which he has won this race. The time was 1 minute 57 and 3/5 seconds. It's a course record here at Belmont, and it's just 1/5 of a second off the fastest mile and a quarter ever run in North America. And there are the just rewards for Paradise Creek and his partner, Pat Day. Chris?
Well, it is now official here at Belmont. The early times Manhattan Paradise Creek pays 260, 210, and 210, coupled with Solar Splendor, the second choice in the betting interest here. The 4-2 exacted just 740. River Majesty got up for the show spot. And
they are in the gate. And they're off. Lure and 4-star Dave break alertly. Astudillo is in between them. They're moving by us for the first time, and it will be Astudillo who gets to the early lead. No one's really anxious for it. 4-star Dave protecting his position at the inside. He pokes ahead in front, and Lure has been taken back into third. He's going to do his early running from off the pace. Paradise Creek right up there in behind the lead, and Binary Light is the early trailer. 4-star Dave is the pacemaker, loping along in front by length, but now Lure is on the attack as they make their way to the backstretch. The first quarter was a soft 24 and 3/5 seconds. An easy opening quarter for the old boy. 4-star Dave, the leader, into the backstretch. But now Lure is applying the pressure, and Pat Day has wheeled Paradise Creek to the outside for a clear run. Astudillo is running in fourth position. Binary Light is the trailer. The half in 48 and 1/5 seconds. And it's 4-star Dave, the leader down the backstretch by a half length. Lure is just off his flank. Paradise Creek, a menacing presence, just off the lead on the outside. Then toward the inside, Astudillo, and farther back, Binary Light. The field hits the far turn, and it's still 4-star Dave holding on to the lead. But Lure's been in no hurry to go by. But the cadence is quickening now as they approach the top of the stretch. Paradise Creek poised and powerful on the outside third, and they're coming to the top of the stretch now, and Lure will have to tussle with the Saratoga legend 4-star Dave. Paradise Creek is in full flight on the outside, coming to mid-stretch. 4-star Dave digs down. Lure too much has ahead in front. Paradise Creek is full tilt down the center of the course. Lure, Mike Smith asking him for everything he has, and he's giving it to him. Lure holding on to defeat his arch rival, Paradise Creek, and Smith with a salute of victory. 4-star Dave was third. Number 4 is Lure, owned by Claiborne Farm and Mrs. William Hagan Perry, trained by Shug McGahee, ridden by Mike Smith. The time for the race, 1:46.10.
We start with Fanmore, a front runner with Kent DeSormo at 15. Pat Valenzuela rides Alex the Great. Muteram with Willie Carson in from England to ride. Johan Quatz, trained by Ron McAnally, who's won this race 3 times. Spartan Sharif, also an invader, is a long shot. And Maristani with the leading rider of the current meet here, Aaron Greider, aboard. Blues Traveler with Chris Antley is somewhat of a long shot. Petite Loop, ridden by Walter Swinburne, who won the big race yesterday. The 8-5 favorite is Paradise Creek with
Pate Fastness with Gary Stevens. He's the only jockey in the field ever to have won the Million. Star of Cozine, last year's winner. Split Run, Mr. Cowboy, and Semyon, all coupled in a mutual.
Bulky field for this year's running of the Million. Horses representing both countries. Fanmore is number 1, 6 starts, 3 wins. He was a $62,000 1989 Keeneland September yearling purchase. He'll run on or near the lead for trainer Bobby Frankel and jockey Kent DeSormo. Number 2 is Alex the Great. He's won graded races on both coasts. He's won from 1 1/8 to 1 1/2 miles. He'll be well back early. His owner, music impresario Barry Gordy. We've mentioned Mudaram. He's a top-class European performer, a $650,000 Keeneland July yearling purchase. Impeccable breeding. His company line in Europe, the best. Izood, Apple Tree, Big Stone, all tough nuts. Willie Carson is in from Europe to handle Mudaram. Number 4 is Johann Quatz, like Alex the Great, a late runner. Though 1 1/4 miles may be a tad out of his scope, he was a well-beaten third in last year's Million, the Star of Cozine. But his trainer, Ron McAnally, has won this race 3 times, twice with John Henry. Number 5 is Spartan Sharif. Only the 3rd race this year. He's a European. He went off at 50-1 versus Mudaram at the York in the Grade 1. Juddmonte finished 5th, 6 lengths behind Mudaram on paper, a tad outclassed here today. We go to Maristani, number 6, a $25,000 September Keeneland purchase. Ran an impressive second to Fanmore here at Arlington in a prep for the Million. Impressive because he tried to close off a very slow pace. Made up 4 lengths. Couldn't get by Fanmore at the line. Number 7 is Blues Traveler. He's in from the West Coast. A 4-year-old was sharp in the spring, but he set a slow pace and packed it in the Grade 1 Eddie Reed at Del Mar. Jockey Chris Antley will press the pace with this one. You can be sure of that. Number 8 is Petite Loup, or Little Wolf. Same connections as Beverly D. winner Hattouf, owner Maktoum Al Maktoum, trainer Cricket Head, rider Walter Swinburne. 4 wins and 5 starts in Europe this year, but was 5th beaten 5 to King's Theater, although a treble trip for Petite Loup in that race. We've talked about Paradise Creek. He's number 9. He's the horse to beat. He's had a remarkable rivalry with Lure in the turf that might be compared to a Firmden Alydar in the dirt, but there's no Lure today. The advantage he has over his American rivals, he has packed the top weight before others have not. Number 10 is Fastness. This is a rapidly improving 4-year-old, lightly raced, a bang-up second in the Eddie Reed at Del Mar. Needs to improve 3 or 4 lengths to threaten these, but he's capable. Number 11 is Star of Cozine, his 3rd Million try. Won it last year at 4-5, but clearly off his game when a treble 5th to Fanmore in the Arlington Handicap. The question here, which Star of Cozine will show up today? The jockey, Yutaka Taki. And a 3-horse mutual field consisting of number 12F Split Run will break from the rail. Consistent, but maybe traveling in too classy company today. Number 13F is Mr. Cowboy. Same can be said of him, a low allowance runner. I'll be kind. He's ambitiously placed. His owner, Paul White, believe it or not, ponied up $50,000 in supplemental money to run today. And finally, 14F Semyon. This is the best of the 3-horse mutual field. He beat Alex the Great twice in February at Santa Anita. He was a strong second to Grand Flotilla in the Grade 2 Sunset at Hollywood. The same Grand Flotilla who beat Bien Bien earlier this year. And Lord White, the owner, gave his life, Lady White of Hull, his wife, this horse, as a birthday present in November of '93. That's the post parade for the 14th running of the Arlington Million. Crowd making their decisions.
One as we speak. The gray horse is Fastness with Gary Stevens, who just won the Secretariat. And 11, Star of Cozine, is in line. And they're up. From between horses, Fastness going for the lead, but on the inside there goes Fanmore, and Fanmore on the inside with Kent DeSormo as expected takes command. And from between horses, here comes Paradise Creek ranging up, and Semyon is also up with the leaders. There goes Blues Traveler with the white cap into the 2nd spot, and Mudaram at the rail is in good position as they go to the clubhouse turn. It's Fanmore in front by a length and 3/4. Mudaram on the inside saves ground in the 2nd spot. That's Blues Traveler on the outside, and the white cap now advancing up. Then it's a gap of a length and 3/4, and at the rail, Petite Loup with Walter Swinburne is fourth at this point by a length and a half. On the outside, it's Paradise Creek in fifth by half a length. At the rail, Semilon is next by 2, then comes Fastness. 2 back to Maristani. On the outside, that's Split Run gaining a bit. After that, at the rail, it's Alex the Great. Quite strung out. They move down the back stretch, but Kent DeSormo is keeping the front end with a lively pace. In front now by about a length and a half. And Blues Traveler on the outside with Chris Antley charging up on the inside. Mutaram is also flying. Middle of the racetrack, Paradise Creek is now fourth by a head. Petite Loop at the rail looks for some racing room in fifth. Fastness is sixth. After that, it's Spartan Sharif in the blue colors, followed on the outside by Split Run. They turn for home, and it's Fanmore who's led every step of the way, in front by a length. Paradise Creek ranging up on the outside. Mutaram in the blue and white colors is third at this point. Petite Loop is fourth, and down the stretch they come, and Paradise Creek on the outside flies by with Pat Day aboard. He's going to get his million, and it's Paradise Creek, the winner by 3 parts of a length. On the inside, Fanmore held on for the play spot, and there's a photo for the show between Mutaran and on the inside, Petite Loop. So, stalking the pace, Paradise Creek gets a well-deserved pat from Pat Day, and they finally get to the winner's circle. It's Pat and Paradise in 1:59 and 3.
This is vintage Paradise Creek and vintage Pat Day. So patient, positioned perfectly, pushed the button when he had to, got the acceleration, and won the race this jockey has never been able to capture before.
48 seconds, and just as Kent DeSormo told Leslie Visser earlier in the broadcast he was going to try and slow it down, and he did as far as he could. As we watch in our Thrifty Car Rental replay, the eventual winner in the yellow colors on the outside. At this point, Mutaram and Blues Traveler were between Paradise Creek and Fanmore. Fanmore lets out another notch, and Paradise Creek shakes, rattles, and rolls on by. And you can really get a view of the different styles. American jockeys on the 2 front runners, and just behind Willie Carson and Walter Swinburne. But there it is, and a raise of the whip. Boy, that must be a sweet victory for Pat Day, Bob.
Well, before the race, Leslie Visser had a chance to analyze strategy with Kent DeSormo. It nearly worked to a T. He joins Leslie again after the race.
Binary light moves in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Inside, Red Call goes out to the early lead as expected, showing speed there. Astadio, now Murillo gets into gear, and Murillo moves through at the rail now, and Marilyn Moon is next, followed by Turk Passer. Paradise Creek is settled back there with Beneficial second to last, and Binary Light is the trailer. Field is led by Red Call at the rail. Astadio moves up to be a closer second. Turk Passer outside in third, and Zoman on the inside is Murillo, followed by Marilyn Moon, and then it's back to Paradise Creek, who's back there now third, fourth to last, followed by Beneficial, and Binary Light is a trailer. But Red Call is scooting away again now to lead by a length to Astadio. Down inside is Murillo next, followed outside by Turk Passer. It's back to Zillman, who's reserved only 4 lengths from the lead. Paradise Creek starts a bit of a bit on the outside, and it's back to Marilyn Moon, Beneficial, and the last one is Binary Light, a dozen or more lengths off the lead. Red Call going along, assuring a decent pace. Up front, leads it by a length and a quarter. Murillo is shipped through along the rail now to grab second, and Astadio is third. Outside, Turk Passer is fourth. Zoman, Marilyn Moon races inside. Paradise Creek favored about 5 lengths off the lead. Beneficial is second to last, and Binary Light's been in the back the whole way. They're into the far turn, and Red Call's getting lonely up front. He's scooted away now 2.5 to Murillo. Turk Passer, Astadio. Paradise Creek now starts to rally, and here comes Paradise Creek 4 wide in the second flight. Beneficial's getting into the act 2, coming 5 wide into the stretch. They turn for home now. Red Call still the one to catch, but up on the outside, here's Paradise Creek, perched to pounce. Paradise Creek on the outside, just under a confident hand ride up to Red Call. They're coming through the final furrow, and Paradise Creek takes the lead and draws off at will from Red Call. Beneficial is running on in third, but Paradise Creek is headed to the wire, bounding away from this field. Red Call second and Beneficial. Paradise Creek, each stride moves them closer to the Grass Championship. 1:59 and 3 to time.
What What a running machine, Paradise Creek. And I think if you watched Pat Day very closely on the far turn, Charles, and watched his hands, they were unflinching.
It was vintage Pat Day. He sits there with a handful of horse. He never moved, never cocked his stick, looked back confidently. It was his all the way.
We'll make it official when we come back in just a moment.
She won the Irish Oaks in good fashion, but her run in the Yorkshire Oaks was disappointing, to say the least. And you'd have to wonder about at this stage of year. She certainly wouldn't want to be one of our leading hopes on form at this time.
Hattouf, Wally, I know you've news of Hattouf, haven't you? You saw that one work?
Yes, I mean, she looked very good working. I know that she won in America on the firm ground, but I would, you know, just worry a little bit about conditions there.
Celtic Arms, the French Derby winner, who would probably be one of the outsiders, you would have thought here, only 11th of 20 in the, not beaten that far in truth by Carnegie. There's Vaudeville, ridden by Gary Stevens, one of the American runners here, unraced as a 2-year-old, that one, that's Vaudeville. And the next one that we'll see is Voloshine. Voloshine, another one of the French contenders, third to Raintrap in the Rothmans International. The next runner is a particularly interesting one, though. There it is, Only Royale. John Gosden, word from Frankie is pretty promising, isn't it?
Yes, he spoke to me the other day. He was very pleased with this mare. And, you know, the way she won the Yorkshire Oaks, she was unlucky in the arc. She's coming there fresh. In my mind, she has to be our best hope in the race.
There's Tikkanen, another French runner. And the next we see, White Muzzle. Wally, are you a little surprised to see White Muzzle running here after the disappointment in the Rothmans?
Well, it's most certainly as regards that, but I can tell you the work watchers think this horse has been going particularly well, and I spoke to John Reid on Wednesday. He said it was very interesting. The horse was going on the right leg round the bends, and he's quite confident you're going to get a good race out of White Muzzle this evening.
Well, there's Hernando as well, another one of the French runners that they think will go particularly well. And I suppose, John, Paradise Creek, this is the one to beat, really, isn't it? Will Paradise Creek stay, is the question.
Well, look, he's a great, big, huge, plain horse, wonderful character. He won the Arlington Million and the Washington D.C. International in devastating style, but mile and a quarter. This is the first time he's ever tried a mile and a half. To do it in the Breeders' Cup is a tough thing to do, but if he stays, he wins. If he doesn't, then I'd be looking towards something like Only Royale.
23 runs without ever going a mile and a half. Here's Ian with the betting.
Fascinating thing, Paradise Creek 5-4 in this country. It was a bit shorter with some firms. A shade more than that at Churchill Downs at the moment, about 8-5, but 5-4-ish in this country. 6-1 Hernando, 9's Hattouf, 10-1 Only Royale and Tikkanen, 12 Vaudeville. They go 16-1 White Muzzle. Bit disappointing lately, it would have to be said. Also 16's Raintrap, 22 Frères, 25-1 Bolas and Intrepidity, 33 Voloshine, and 50-1 Dahlia's Dreamer and Celtic Arms.
National, given too much to do, we assume, in the arc when finishing 6th to Carnegie. There's Celtic Arms going in as well now. Bit disappointing in the arc, but only beaten 4 lengths or so in the end by Carnegie. Vaudeville, one of the American horses there, only run 6 times in total, so relatively inexperienced, dead heated with Overbury in the American Derby at Arlington. And Voloshine going in 40-1. Good value of the European horses over there, no question about that whatever. Dahlia's Dreamer goes in, and Bolas going in as well. Bolas just causing 1 or 2 problems. Barry Hill's Hope, Irish St. Ledger winner, of course, Cheshire Oaks winner, the Ribblesdale winner as well, but then disappointing for the Yorkshire Oaks, just 5th of 7, sweated up on that occasion, went too freely to post, and doesn't look to be enjoying things too much at present either at the moment, but has gone in. Here's our commentator, Tom Durkin.
Vaudeville comes out quickly, and Bolas is out there to flash her speed and establish the early lead, or rather make that Dahlia's Dreamer. Bolas moving on the outside now to be 2nd. Vaudeville is in between horses, running 3rd in the early going. Celtic Arms had to check, and check hard indeed did Celtic Arms. And then it's Paradise Creek, who's up close to the pace on the outside now, edging into 4th position. In between horses, it's a Rain Trap now running in 5th. Then toward the inside, Voloshin is 6th in the early going. Phrase is now running in 7th. He's about 7 lengths from the early front runners. Only Royale is in between horses, running in 8th position. Celtic Arms has a ground-saving trip so far. And then it's White Muzzle, who's drafting in behind horses in the early going. Near the back of the pack are Intrepidity. Hernando is now running 12th of 14. Hot Tooth is 13th. And Tikkanen has the last spot as they move by us for the first time. Solid fractions here, 23 and 3 and 46 and 4 for the half mile. Dahlia's Dreamer is the pacemaker. And Paradise Creek is moving early now. He's edging toward the lead on the outside. Bolus is right there in between horses. And Vaudeville has had a perfect trip so far, saving ground all the way as they make their way into the backstretch. Voloshin drafting in behind horses, running in 5th. Celtic Arms is 6th toward the inside, then only Royale. White Muzzle is now being helped along about 7 lengths from the lead. Then it's Hernando, who is yet to put in his best run as they continue their run up the backstretch. And Paradise Creek has taken the lead with less than a half mile to run. It is Paradise Creek now the leader. Vaudeville right there to challenge him with a half mile to go. Dahlia's Dreamer couldn't keep up the pace and now fades to 3rd. Celtic Arms now toward the inside, running in 4th position. White Muzzle is in between horses. Hernando had to check as the field moved into the far turn. Hernando has lost all chance. He checked hard in behind Dahlia's Dreamer. They're rounding the far turn. Pat Day, Paradise Creek, a slim lead. Vaudeville, a stiff challenge for the would-be champion as the field turns for home. Tikkanen, who was last as they pass this for the first time, is now a hard-charging 3rd as they come to mid-stretch. Only Royale is right there running in 4th. Paradise Creek still holding on to a short lead. One more bold challenge from Tikkanen, who surges past Paradise Creek as they come down to the line. Hot Tooth is coming late, 50 yards from the line. Tikkanen in front. Hot Tooth, Paradise Creek 3rd today. It is Tikkanen who scores in the mile-and-a-half turf. And then Hot Tooth finishing 2nd. It was close for 3rd. Intrepidity or Paradise Creek. Tikkanen from last to 1st to win it here in record time. 2 minutes 26 and 2/5 seconds.
1番のアップルツリーです。フランスからやってまいりました。凱旋門賞3着。外国馬の場合は馬体重の増減はありませんで、今日の馬体重だけお伝えしてまいります。2番が武豊騎乗、アメリカのフレイズ。一昨年のブリーダーズカップターフの覇者です。そしてアメリカのパラダイスクリーク、この中では実績ナンバー1ホースです。続いて日本のマーベラスクラウン、グレード1初挑戦。同じく日本馬藤山健山。4枠はともにオセアニア代表となりました。まず6番はラフハビット、そして7番はメルボルンカップを制しておりますジューンです。そして8番日本のマチカネ・タンホイザ。さあちょっとこれは離れました。9番のヨハン・クアッツ、アメリカからです。そしてブラジル4歳チャンピオンからアメリカに移籍いたしましたサンドピット、大きな馬です。544キロ。その後ろに日本のナイスネイチャー、そして昨年のフランスダービー馬です。アスムッセン騎乗のエルナンド、そして足毛の馬体がひときわ目立っておりますが、13番がグランドフロティア、マーベラスクラウンのお兄さんにあたります。そして14番アメリカのレイントラップ、そして最後に15番のロイス&ロイス日本。以上の15頭によって争われる今年のジャパンカップでありますが、
今もゴールマン前に外人の団体がかなり声援していますんでね。
そうですね。さあこれで枠入りがどうやら 完了したようです。さあ第14回ジャパンカップゲートが開いてスタートを切りました。大きく立ち遅れた馬はいません。さあペースはどの馬が作っていくんでしょうか。赤い帽子が2頭、マーベラスクラウン、藤山健山、外の方からは人気サンドピットも早め、3番手から2番手、あまりガンガン飛ばしてはいけません。14頭であります。さあ先頭を取ったのは5番の藤山健山、これは予想通りであります。そして当番544キロ、大型はサンドピットアメリカ代表コーリー中谷が2番手につけました。1コーナーから2コーナーに向かっていきます。さあ人気馬が早くも先頭を伺うサンドピット、勢いでありますがあまり無理していきません。その後方から4番のマーベラスクラウンが追走いたします。黄色い帽子ヨハン・クワッツも現在4番手アウトコースにロイス&ロイス、こういったところがつけております。さあ向こう上面に入っていきました。先頭から見てまいりましょう。先頭は5番の藤山健山を返しましてアメリカのサンドピット単勝1番人気がここで先頭に立ちました。2馬身から3馬身のリード、藤山健山が現在単独の2番手、その後ろもちょっと切れました黄色い帽子ヨハン・カッツであります。インコース4番のマーベラスクラウンがつけています。その後方からパラダイスクリーク、ロイス&ロイスピンクの勝負服、ナイスネイチャー、内々白い帽子はアップルツリー、7箱2頭グランドフロテラエルランド、そしてジューンがここにいます。そのインコース2番武豊のフレイズであります。さらにその後方でありますがラフハビット、インコース14番のレイントラップ、さらにもう1頭後方から行っております。さあ3コーナーの早くも坂を下りまして4コーナーに向かっていきます。さあ当番のサンドピットが体半分、黄色い帽子ヨハン・カッツが現在2番手から先頭を伺う構えであります。大欅の向こうを通っております。まもなく第4コーナーのカーブを迎えますが、さらに赤い帽子藤山健山も頑張っている。内々は4番のマーベラスクラウン、ナイスネイチャー、日本の3頭が3番手4番手5番手で第4コーナーカーブ直線コースに入ってまいりました。さあ長い府中の直線 500m、 さあ先頭わずかにサンドピットが先頭か、内をついてマーベラスクラウン、その方から一気にロイス&ロイス、さらに黄色い帽子ヨハン・カッツも言い出した。さあ横に広がったいい競馬になった、内をついてマーベラスクラウンかサンドピット、さらに2番のパラダイスクリークが来ていると、しかし外の方からロイス&ロイスがエイジだ、パラダイスクリークマーベラス、さあ3頭が浮き出した、3頭の叩き、さあパラダイスクリークかマーベラスか並んでゴールイン、マーベラスかパラダイスか、3頭から最後は2頭が抜け出しました。なかなか素晴らしいレースであります。勝ち時計が2分23秒6。しかしこの第14回ジャパンカップ審議の青いランプが灯っています。なかなか直線激しい、
そうですね、
追い比べ、例年こういったレースになるんですけどもね、
完全にロイス&ロイスがね、
ただいまのレースは最後の直線走路で10番サンドピット号の進路が狭くなったことについて審議をいたします。お持ちの投票権は勝ち馬が確定するまで
マーベラスクラウンか、それともアメリカ代表のパラダイスクリークか。本当に吉野さん、これはもうゴール板首の上げ下げ、ここの実況席からの印象ですとわずかにマーベラス有利かなというには見えるんですが、
そうですね、
写真判定ですかね、当然ね。
写真判定だと思いますけれども、南騎手がかなり強引に追いましたんでね、ゴール前マーベラスが一追いぐいっと出たところがゴールのように写真になりましたね。
そうですね、しかし南騎手はどうも勝利を確信しているような、なんかそんな左と今ちらっと上げましたけども、1着は写真判定です。そして3着に15番のロイス&ロイス日本代表馬、そして4着12番のエルナンド、5着当番、1番人気に押されまして果敢に飛ばしていきましたサンドピットですが、最後直線力つきまして5着、1、2着この写真判定、内マーベラスクラウン、外パラダイスクリーク、マーベラスクラウンが勝ちますと、これで3年連続日本の代表馬がこの JC を制することになるわけなんですけども、
やっぱりこのね地元の利というのがね、なんかどっかに出そうだなという雰囲気もありましたんでね。
そうですね。さあこれは、直線、受けるカメラですね、正面からのカメラ。しかしやっぱりなかなかこのいつもジャパンカップというのは直線で非常に叩き合いといいますかね、激しいレースが繰り広げられるんですが、
今サンドピットね、ちょっと進路を塞がったということなんですけどもね、
その辺がこの審議の対象にはなっているんですが、 1着はご覧のように写真、勝ち時計のこの2分23秒6、これも非常に立派じゃないですか。歴代で言いますと吉田さんね、
そうですね、
レコードが2分22秒2のホーリックス、そして90年のベタールースナップが23秒2ということは、これまでの14回で第3位のこれタイムになりますね。
逃げ馬がいないということで、ね、今ちょっとやってますね。サンドピット鼻の白い馬なんですけれども、
はい、さあ直線のこの叩き合いですが、
内側パラダイスクリークとロイス&ロイスにこうちょっと挟まれる感じなんですよね。よくわかりますね、今のね、腰をですね。
今大歓声が沸き起こったのは、着順表示板に1着のところにご覧のように4番日本代表クラウンの4の文字が浮かび上がりました。